talk about fundamentals, but now we got to talk about your style. Your style may be far different than Joe or Jane. It makes no difference if you stay within the framework. That's the main criteria of building the sonic serve.
How you position the racket in your hand has a great impact on the potential of your serve. It is your grip that determines whether the wrist action you need to bring the ball down sharply into the court can function completely. Watch closely as the arm straightens fully into contact. The racket head comes over the top, and the butt of the racket points up towards the point of contact on the finish. That is exactly what we want to see happen, and is the result of using the continental grip correctly positioned in the hand. The V shape between your thumb and first finger should be in line with the top edge of the grip, like you see here. More importantly, the heel of your hand must be positioned on the top of the grip. This allows the wrist snap and forearm rotation to function unrestricted, releasing all the power of your serve into contact, creating the action necessary to bring the ball down into the service box. For beginning players, the forehand grip is acceptable to use on the serve to achieve initial success. But as they develop, they will experience many limitations and problems unless they make a grip change. The forehand grip positions the heel of the hand on the side of the grip, not on the top. This restricts the wrist snap action through contact, making it difficult to get the ball to come down sharply into the service box. Rather than the racket head turning over completely at the top, with the butt of the racket pointing upward, instead the wrist action gets jammed, which can lead to great discomfort in the hitting arm over time. So if your sights are set on developing a sonic serve, start by correctly positioning your hand on the racket in the continental grip.
For a real basic beginner, I don't mind if they have a semi-western to an eastern forehand grip. And as they begin to progress in strength and confidence, you start making slight adjustments to the forehand grip and then to the continental grip. But take your time, because remember, a youngster needs to feel secure, or a person just starting out with the game, that they can make contact with the ball.
From your starting position stance to the adjustment of your feet through the motion, you must be able to toe the baseline without stepping on it or inside of it before making contact with the ball. That means your footwork habits must be precise and provide you with complete control of your balance throughout the service motion. Those styles will vary the serve footwork. The stance we recommend is proven to provide the highest degree of balance for the sonic serve. Your starting position should find your front foot pointing in the direction of the net post, like you see here. In this position, your front foot is pointed in a line beneath your contact point. So as you stretch and lean your hips forward into the court, your front knee can extend inside the baseline to add support and balance for the set to launch position. In the starting position, the back foot positions perpendicular and in line with the heel of the front foot, at a comfortable distance behind. As their body weight shifts forward into the set to launch position, balancing entirely on the front foot, you'll see many of the biggest servers bring their back foot forward, toeing the baseline next to the front foot. If you bring the back foot forward, make sure you don't allow your body weight to shift onto the back foot. Keep everything balanced on the front foot. And one more thing, if you're in the habit of taking any forward step with your front foot on the start of your serve, you should realize that that stepping action contributes nothing towards creating power in an upward direction. If this was a critical match point situation, this 119-mile-per-hour blast for an ace would have been taken away, because that tiny step forward with his front foot results in a foot fault. So we have a few key points for you to remember for the stance and footwork. In the starting position, point your front foot more towards the direction of the net post, and avoid taking any forward step with the front foot as you set to launch. If you prefer to bring the back foot forward next to the front foot, watch out for the foot fault and make sure you don't position your body weight on the back foot. Remember, the set to launch position should have all your body weight balanced on the front foot. Your ability to consistently execute the sonic serve will depend heavily on your tossing skills and your ability to accurately position the ball at the desired point of contact. The desired point of contact will be different for each type of serve, from the sonic boom to the slice and kick serves. You must be in command of your toss placements to execute the various types of serves. In addition, you must be able to compensate and adjust your toss for windy conditions and when the sun is in your eyes. For you to achieve consistent results with your sonic weapon, you must have command of your toss and a consistent toss-hit rhythm. To establish the toss-hit rhythm that works best for you, say toss as you release the ball and hit as you make contact. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. It is the time between toss and hit that determines your toss-hit rhythm. If you like to toss the ball much higher than the contact point, and if you're slower getting into the set-to-launch position, you are likely to have a more extended time between toss and hit. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. If you like to work with a shorter toss and can achieve the set-to-launch position very quickly, you can work with a much tighter toss-hit rhythm with less time between toss and hit. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. Once you establish the toss-hit rhythm that works best for you, you should try to maintain that same rhythm on every serve. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. Toss, hit. Now let's look at how to improve the precision of your toss. Establishing command of your toss begins with how you hold the ball in your hand. For best results, most players keep the palm of their tossing hand pointing upward and the ball position within the fingers and thumb, not in the fingertips. With the toss arm fully extended, you begin a lifting action from the shoulder, and as the hand reaches eye level, the fingers and thumb open to release the ball into the air. Notice the toss arm remains extended as it continues upward to a position where the arms and shoulders create a straight line with the point of contact. To further improve the control of your toss, you should try to avoid creating any spin on the ball as you release the toss. And remember to keep your arm fully extended and continuing upward until you reach the set-to-launch position. You want the action of your toss arm to be slow and smooth, just powerful enough to lift the ball to the desired toss height. To allow yourself more time to achieve the set-to-launch position, we recommend tossing the ball 1 to 2 feet higher than your point of contact. The ball will travel on a path which arcs slightly in the direction of the net as the ball descends into the point of contact. The contact point position for your biggest sonic serve is well into the court and nearly out of reach. That is why the toss is arcing away from the server. You'll notice his body weight is almost completely on the front foot on the release of the toss, allowing the toss to follow more of a straight up and down path. It is very difficult to consistently position the toss when you release the toss with your body weight more on the back foot. Releasing the toss with your weight forward in your stance will make it much easier for you to control your toss and your point of contact.
Jose, get that hip way out and drop that right shoulder more.
If your arms and shoulders were the hands of a clock, in the set to launch position, your toss arm would be pointed in the direction of 1 o'clock, and your hitting elbow would be pointed in the direction of 7 o'clock. The alignment of your arms and shoulders with the point of contact and the positioning of your hips in the court are the two most important factors for you to work on. Developing full control of your balance in the set to launch position will be essential for maintaining control of your motion and power. When you stretch into the court with your lower body and tilt upward with your upper body, you should feel your body stretch and bend, loading the energy to snap from the hip up towards contact. Much like the action of a pole vaulter's pole, you can stretch and bend the entire front side of your body into a position that, through a snapping action from the hip, can create power up towards the point of contact. For you to discover this position, you'll need to relax your muscles, especially throughout the hip area, and allow yourself to become more flexible. The key is finding a completely balanced position when you're set to launch. That means your positioning and movements must be precise. Though the style of these two players may differ in certain minor aspects, when it comes to the set to launch position, their technique is identical and precise every time. If you learn to stretch your hip position more over your front foot and underneath the point of contact, your lower body will be in better alignment with your upper body, providing complete control of your balance. As you work on developing your set to launch position into habit, focus on fully stretching your hips forward and lining up your shoulders and arms with the contact point in a completely balanced position. If you're unable to achieve the full stretch with the front side of your body, make sure you're not dipping into a knee bend as you start to set the position. When the front knee dips down and leads the body into the court, often the hips will never reach the set position. Work with a slight bend in both knees from the start of your motion and feel like your hips are sliding forward on a track. Then as your hips begin to fully stretch, you can add a little more knee bend to help you in the upward launch. Focusing in on the throwing mechanics, you can see his arms and shoulders are fully stretched as he lines up with the point of contact. Like the pitcher in the windup, the chest expands as the elbows spread apart, loading the weapon for the throwing action upward. As you work on this in practice, feel your chest muscles stretch fully as you spread your wings in the windup. Keeping your back muscles firm to support your upright posture, you'll need to relax the muscles in your arms and across your chest to remain flexible for the throwing action. Make sure you don't arch your back as you create the set to launch position. The action of shifting your hips forward and tilting your shoulders should not include arching your back.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
As your body extends into the set to launch position, you should feel stretched and loaded with energy, ready to unleash the power of your throwing action up towards the point of contact. The upward launch begins with the toss arm. Have the concept in your mind that your tossing hand is reaching up and grabbing onto the top of the fence, working to pull your body towards contact. With nothing to actually grab onto, the toss arm begins to drive down and back, starting the rotation of the shoulder mechanics. As the toss arm begins to work, the snapping action from the hip starts the launch towards contact. Notice how the hips are rotating and rising. As the hip action lifts and stretches, the upper body catapults, sending the elbow on a straight track towards the point of contact. The whole body snaps to a straight position just before contact, with the body weight leaning over the court. All the power and energy that has been generated passes up into the racket head the moment the body and arms straighten, making for explosive results on impact. This upward pitch technique allows him to accelerate the racket head up to maximum speed and release all the power into contact. From the set to launch position to the point of contact, he establishes 180 degrees of distance for his throwing action to accelerate up to speed. We call this the power curve. He is making contact at the end of his power curve, where his racket head can achieve maximum speed. On contact, the racket head releases all the power of the swing onto the ball, making for a follow-through that floats down from contact. You'll notice that the only time his hitting arm is straight is for a brief moment at contact. After contact, the elbow quickly bends as the racket head leads the way downward on the follow-through. There's no need for you to consciously make an effort to snap your wrist into contact. Like the crack of a whip, the energy created in the swing will do it for you. With the continental grip in hand, your throwing action aimed at contact, and your arm relaxed. The wrist snap will occur naturally when the arm straightens at impact.
That's better hose. It's amazing. You go down here, and this goes out here.
When you focus your throwing action and power forward rather than up, watch what happens to the power curve. Even though she looks pretty good in the set to launch position, because she is directing the action forward, the power curve shifts forward and down. Her racket does not begin to accelerate until her arm is nearly at contact. She has very little distance for her racket to build up speed. She makes contact, and watch how much speed is still left in the swing. The ball has left the racket, and her arm and racket are still accelerating, making for a long and overextended follow-through. She is definitely creating a lot of power in her swing, but very little of it actually happens before contact. What you're seeing is a powerful follow-through. If she can focus on directing 100% of her energy up towards contact rather than forward, her powerful swing will add up to more powerful results.
Yes, Houston, we've got a problem.
Make sure you don't abort the launch by losing control of your hips as you try to snap upward with your body. When you don't fully stretch the hips in the set position, as you reach towards contact, the hips will bow out gracefully, recoiling back towards the fence. When the hips jackknife the body this way, the upper body collapses heading into contact, angling the racket face downward, usually forcing the ball into the net. As you begin to master the ability to snap powerfully from the hip, you'll find the power of your upward snap will often lift your feet up off the ground at contact. That's exactly what you see happening here. It's not so much that they're jumping up into contact, their snapping action upward with the body is pulling their feet up off the ground.
Take it higher.
The mental blueprint you've been shaping over the course of this video should help you begin building the upward launch in practice. The first time you get it, It will feel totally different than your old motion. You would swear the ball was going to fly 100 feet in the air as a result of your swing. But when you reach and extend your arm fully, the wrist snap creates the beautiful downward action that sends the ball into the court. If you watch how the ball travels over the net, you'll know if your power is headed in the right direction. If your ball tends to travel very low over the net and lands on or beyond the service line most of the time, you're likely directing your action forward and not up. If you can develop this skill of focusing all your power and energy up towards contact, you'll extend your reach to higher contact points, leading to better ball clearance over the net. Your more explosive wrist snap at the top will generate better downward action on the ball, allowing you to control the depth of your serves and give you access to the most aggressive targets.
Our first approach to the serve is very, very simple. Get the feeling, get it in the box. But as we begin to play, we get into tight situations. We just don't want to get it in the box. By pushing it in the box, we want to increase our hand speed. We want to increase the spin on the ball. And the way you do this is to challenge it and say, hey, I'm going to go up after it, and I'm going to increase everything that I do on contact.
Launching upward, his body straightens into contact, leaning over the court with his feet up off the ground. After contact, the racket head leads the way down on the follow-through. His body has a forward lean on the landing, creating a strong force of momentum pulling him towards the net. That's why the serve and volley tactic is such a natural progression of the sonic serve. The follow-through and landing flow seamlessly into the forward movement to net. However, even when you don't serve and volley, opting to stay back behind your serve, you still must execute with the same intensity, making yourself go after the ball, landing well inside the baseline on the finish, the same as you would to serve and volley. The only difference on the landing is how you recover. Rather than continuing forward, you land on the front foot and push back into a split step, so you can quickly react to the return of serve.
Hitting the serve is only part of the action. The serve and volleyer, they already know. They're going to serve and go forward to the net. We have the server who picks up the short return and attacks. Then we have the server, and it could be a darn good server, that hits and wants to stay back, but you know something? You can't say, hey, that's a heck of a serve, and stay where you end up a foot or so inside the court. You have to follow up, hit, recover,